All right. Welcome to Battle Tested Nursing's Real Talk with Nurse Mindy. I'm Nurse Mindy, broadcasting from Texas tonight. Let me fix my computer. Sorry. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Okay. I am broadcasting from Texas tonight. And this is not just another podcast. It's a safe space for real stories from people who have walked the road nursing students are on today. From the hospital floor to the classroom and everywhere in between, our guests share the moments that test our gut, our grit, and our hearts. Tonight, we have Nurse Hannah, an LPN who stood beside me through long nights, staffing gaps, and the kinds of moments that push you to your limits. She is the nurse that took me under her wing at my first nursing job, guys. We started in Kansas City nursing homes, learning to tag team patients, manage chaos, and still find room for laughter and a hot meal at the end of our shift. Our journey led to travel contracts, back to full-time floors, and a lasting support system for aides, patients, and our shared dreams. This show centers on perseverance, resilience, and integrity, the real life stories that push us to grow when the road gets rough. This space welcomes vulnerability and kindness. No judgments. If you're listening live or in replay, share your thoughts in the comments. If you're a student or nurse considering what's next, you're part of this story too. Sorry, had to adjust my screen. All right, quick reminder, okay? We celebrate the truth of the journey, not a glossy highlighted reel. We're here to learn, to inspire, and to keep moving forward. Hannah, welcome back to Real Talk with Nurse Mindy. And for those of you new to the podcast, Battle Tested Nursing is the bridge that helps students and nurses navigate rough times in nursing school and early careers. It's about practical leadership, real world skills, and a supportive community that proves you're not on this journey alone. Okay? Hannah is currently practicing in Florida and was a trusted teammate who helped me survive one of the toughest times in my life. We met in Kansas City where CNA support was scarce. We learned to work as a unit, push through fatigue, and lift each other up with humor and lots of it, treating every patient as a person with a name, not just a chart. Hannah embodies resilience, compassion, and practical leadership. Hannah, it's a privilege to have you here once again. Let's start with one of your patient stories. So, reflecting on your nursing career, tell us about a patient that touched your heart, what the situation was, how you reacted in the moment, and how that patient impacted your life.
We good to start, Mindy?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Floor is yours, sweetie.
Thanks for having me again, Mindy. It's so nice to see you. Hello, everybody watching. I am Hannah Tan, and I am currently practicing in Florida. I'm currently a nurse supervisor, but I'm working for a remote company right now. And previously, before coming a supervisor, I was doing monthly visits with patients, and I came across this gentleman who, he's very quiet. He um, was just a man of few words, but I noticed something was, going on with him, because we have what's called like remote patient monitoring. So his blood pressure readings, they come directly to us. And I noticed it starting to go up and up and up, as well as the heart rate. And so um, I continued with the monthly calls, and on the last call, I could tell that his voice, something just sounded different. And I had to work at him to get him to really open up, to talk to me, because truthfully, he didn't open up to anyone, not even his wife. And he began to express that they were getting a separation, that she was leaving him, and that's why his blood pressure was the way it was. As long also with his glucose started spiking. Some other things that were happening to him, weight gain and such. So, anyways, it started to take a toll on his body. He wasn't sleeping, he wasn't eating much, and long story short, he kind of concerned me. I kind of got a feeling that something just wasn't okay. And separations, divorces, I know those happen, and they're you know part of life sometimes, unfortunately. But for me, I don't know. I just had a feeling that just something was very off about him. So I decided to do weekly visits, just to check in and see how he was doing. So I began the weekly visits, and each week he would express a little more, a little more, a little more. And I remember on this specific, I think it was a Wednesday, um, and probably like around 9 o'clock or so. He was one of my first patients that day. I called him, and he he kind of sounded just like, I don't know, Mindy, what do you call the word when you're just down? Like, he was always very man of few words, but this time he
Like
just sounded,
depressed or me or
yeah, or just like didn't want to get out of bed. Just he never sounded like that before. So,
kind of like a failure to thrive situation maybe for a temporary thing?
yeah, yeah. And then I noticed he wasn't checking his blood pressure. He wasn't checking his vitals. Um, and so that concerned me. And so one of the first things I asked was, how have you been? Have you ate? Have you been drinking water? Like just simple questions. Um, how has he been feeling since, his wife had left, and how was he coping with that and so much? And he goes, um, I'm going to tell you something. And I said, what? He said, nobody knows. He said, I haven't told my kids. I haven't told my friends. He said, you're the first person I told that my wife left me. And I was like, wow, really? And he said, yes. And he said, I struggle with mental health issues. I'm very depressed. I'm anxious. And he just started to go on and on and on and on. And so that feeling I had, that gut feeling that something was indeed wrong, I was right. And he opened up to me, and I don't know if it was like a 40+ minute, conversation that we had.
Mhm.
So I got him to check his vitals and with the monitor, and he had told me, he had lost a lot of weight and so on. So I said, well, why don't you make you a sandwich well, I'm here with you. And so he did that. He got some water, which made me feel better, of course, knowing that he had something. Um,
Absolutely.
so I typically would call him, like I said, and check in. I was checking and doing weekly visits with him. And I just had a feeling that I needed to call on that Friday, before the weekend, and I don't know why. I just had that nurse instinct to just check on this patient. And when I called him, he told me that if I had not called, he was going to commit suicide that day. And he said, your call was my sign that I was just praying for. He's like, God gave me a sign, like, everything's going to be okay. And he was going to take his life, up until I called, and he told me that, like, as soon as we got on the phone. And my first instinct was going to be to cry, because it's such a weird thing when you work, for any of you nurses that may work remote, or maybe hybrid, whatever. It's like you think, how can you nurse not be in person? But there's so many other things that you can do. And it's crazy how much a phone call and giving someone that time that maybe you wouldn't get if you were busy on the hospital floor, long-term care facility. But I was able to give him that time that he needed, and that allowed him to open up to me, and I was able to save a life remotely, which was just absolutely amazing. And we got to talking and everything, and he thanked me, and he he told me that he was going to get help, and I kind of helped him with the resources with that and so on. But I don't know, I just left that day and I felt so sad, but also so happy because I don't know what you call it. It's almost like that. I don't know what you call. It's just that reward that you get from taking care of people.
You
And
saved
that's like,
his life, Hannah.
yeah. So it just kind of keeps. It's just like endorsing. It kind of keeps. You don't get a lot of stories like that always frequently, but when they do happen, it kind of shakes your shoes a bit, and remind you why what you're doing is so important, no matter where you're at, traveling, or if you're stationed in one place. Mindy had mentioned we did some travel nursing together. So we kind of hopped around there a bit. So we didn't have patients for a while. Um, and I did some contract jobs once I came to Florida. So I didn't have patients that I really got to know for a long time because it was just short stays. But once I, you know, became remote, he was one of those stories that, come by far and few. And it just, yeah, shook me in my boots. And I will never forget it, you know. So I was really happy that I was able to save a life that day.
Our gut instincts, everybody should truly listen to those. I know that some people may not even understand what those are, but anytime something does going wrong, that fight or flight thing in our heads will go off, and
Mm.
and once you get to know your patients, you start noticing these little things. Like
Mhm.
she said, how she noticed his voice changed. It's little things like that that can cue us to the biggest issues
Mhm.
that can come about. It's good that you listen to your instinct.
Yeah.
All nurses should, you know. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think they all do.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, you know how we all know what's required per policy, no matter where you're at. You know what's required of you. But sometimes you just got to go the extra mile to make a difference.
Yeah.
And if you notice a chance where you can make a difference, it doesn't matter if you're a nurse, a CNA, whatever you are, um, a medical assistant, a doctor. Take an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you know that person needs you, or listen to your gut and give that patient a time of day. I think sometimes we're so busy that we overlook things as far as like, because we're trying to accomplish a task list at work. Everybody has some stuff that they're trying to get through, and it's important that you slow down and you really pay attention to the key signs of what might be going on with patients because that deep root thing going on. Um, Guys, I'm clearly tired and stumbling on my words tonight.
You've had a long day at work, I'm sure.
Yes. But yeah, that deep root cause, if you discover that, sometimes
Sorry,
it's
guys, that's my dryer buzzer.
um
Sorry. If you heard that buzzing noise, that's the dryer buzzer. I apologize. I was going to tell you, Hannah, that I actually had a new idea today. I was sitting on the couch and I was just watching my shows on Amazon Prime, you know,
Mhm.
and I got to thinking, and I think I have decided that April I'm going to be dedicated to the CNAs, PCTs, and the medtechs because we want to create a safe space for these essential teammates to come onto the podcast and share their stories too. Um, Such as, I'll give you some examples. How nurses can support them better, or maybe a time where teamwork fell short for them while they were working during their shift. Or, they have the best patient stories too, because sometimes they notice stuff before we do. Sometimes our CNAs are valuable CNAs. There are second set of eyes, or third or fourth, depending on how many you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nowadays, it really sucks for them because of staffing and stuff like that. It just are. And then, so I want to remind everybody why every role matters.
Mm-hmm.
They are essential too, and they deserve better. I mean, they deserve to be treated better by the nurses, by management. They deserve safe staffing ratios. Oh my gosh.
And better pay.
I have seen very good CNAs get so frustrated because they're put on a hall by themselves with no help other than the nurse.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they know the nurse's job are important too. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Laundry's done.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
It's like,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
sorry.
No. Anyways, back to the med techs and CNAs and patient care techs. Okay. I want to hear your stories too. That's why I'm dedicating all of April Nurse Warrior series to our CNAs, our patient care techs, and our med techs, because they matter just as much as nurses. Without them, our jobs are next to impossible. Okay? Especially in nursing homes. Sure, we can help. We're not too good to help, or at least a lot of us do not feel we're too good to help. You know, I cannot, and this is the hard truth of nursing. Not all nurses are created equal. Not all CNAs, PCTs, or med techs are created equal either.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really tell the ones who are here for just a paycheck and the ones who really care.
Yeah.
And I want to hear those stories. There's other people that need to hear those stories. Yeah. So if you're listening.
Sorry, Mindy.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying. If you're listening.
Yeah. Anybody who is listening, please like, share, and subscribe so this important conversation reaches more students and nurses. Ensure that your notifications are turned on too so that you get notified when we go live. But Hannah, back to the stories that we have, you know.
Yeah. And I was going to say,
we've had some really fun times on shifts, and it makes sense when other nurses, other CNAs, they would beg to be placed with me and Hannah. They would. They absolutely would. And I hope I can get in touch with one of them that we did work with that would love to come on the podcast. And I have somebody in mind. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, our comedian of the night every night.
The one that would do the fun dances and really like. So there's a time and a place for everything, guys. During your shift, patient care comes first. I don't care. Patient care comes first because there's maybe a hint of downtime later where you can sit down and actually maybe try to have a conversation before another call light goes off, you know?
Yeah. But we would laugh and we would break up the work, and CNAs, they're really great at bringing some things to your attention because you're doing wound care, doing med pass, you're doing sometimes treatments on these patients. Or we had to run some antibiotics depending, at the place we were at, the long-term care. So yeah, you're doing so many different things, plus you're answering calls and your buzzer's going off or your pager, and then Yeah, so they're in there probably more than you are. And they bring a lot of things to our attention. And we were fortunate that although we were short staffed, we had some amazing CNAs that, they respected us and they really came to us for everything and communicated really well. I'm huge on communication. So that really helped us take care of those people, just the three of us. I think many nights it was just the three of us, or like someone would come from another unit to help us,
Right.
help her for a little bit. And then, yeah, so we had, I'll be completely honest, we had some patients that just to change, we were supposed to have four people, which made things really hard, trying to call someone over just to change a patient. And y'all know how, unfortunately, how long it can take to do that, to get help sometimes. So it's not fair to the patient, these short ratios of CNAs, and it's not fair to the CNAs. So I would love to hear them come on here and talk, um, because I think they give a different perspective than what we can give.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because they look at things in a different lens, through a
Hmm.
different lens. I mean, it's
Yeah.
everybody gets something different out of nursing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where in nursing that you are, you know,
Yeah.
we get something every day. We learn something new every day because it's a constantly changing environment.
Yeah.
Things can go south quickly, and we have to act just, if not faster, to get what we need to get done, you know? And at least in the nursing homes with our long term care patients, seeing symptoms or differences in them may not be as easy as it is to see differences in change of conditions in the hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
And granted, when Hannah and I started working together, it was actually during COVID.
Hmm.
I graduated March of the year COVID. We were all in lockdown still. And we had to wear masks every day. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
And PPE, which took forever to take on
Oh,
and off, which I get it. But we had, remember that fake hallway we had that they put up? They
yeah.
put a plastic barrier. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
call it a fake hallway, but I remember when they separated us, and I was like, "Oh no, this is my
Mm-hmm.
COVID crew." We were killing it, and they were trying to get people on the other side, which was like the COVID unit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there was COVID patients everywhere. Uh, that was that was crazy, but that's what took even longer. On top of having to do all the other things, we were having to get dressed in PPE and undressed in PPE. And those masks, ooh, not we're talking
I
about the ones that are fitted for us, the N95s.
and you know what? I was also a scrub tech on the L&D floor
Hmm.
while I was at LPN, and going into C-sections and stuff like that, we of course still had to wear those masks. I don't know how doctors or nurses that are in those long surgeries, how surely they need, how do they breathe that long through those masks? And I know they probably get used to wearing them, but I never could. I was
Hmm.
always trying to pull it down to sneak, fresh air, or my glasses would fog up.
Hmm. I got nauseous one time. I was so hot. I was in a C-section, and if y'all are queasy about stuff watching, I'm just mute this.
Well, if they're
But
queasy, I think I would reconsider the nursing career.
yeah, but no. So
I'm
what?
being real.
Oh, there's so many different.
True, true, but there is a lot of smells, a lot of sights, a lot of blood at times. So, I mean,
Yeah, and as the years go on, blood used to not bother me, but now sometimes it does, just depending on what it is. It's weird how your body changes like that. But this one was, they were cauterizing something like her, and oh my God, I had to wear that mask. I was already so hot and sweaty and everything, and the smell got trapped in my mask. I thought I
oh
would literally pass out. It would not go away. It's like I needed to pull it,
no, oh
but
no,
I could not touch. So the
no
meat,
way.
human flesh burning was stuck in the mask. I said, I am never going in there doing that again. It was awful. It was god
Oh
awful.
no.
I don't know how you, as a scrub tech or whatever, I'm sure you've been through a lot of surgeries and stuff. I can't. That is not for me, and I'll be completely honest. Mm-mm.
I'm not gonna lie. Being a scrub tech, I was handing the instruments to the doctor and everything for these C sections because all we did was C sections in that particular OR. It was literally on the labor and delivery floor. So, of course, I would have to scrub in. And oh my God, the coolest surgery that I was ever in that. It was just, I was working night shift and it was just me and the doctor. And we had an emergency C section coming in. You know, it was emergency, but it wasn't a critical emergency, you know. And so it was just me and the doctor. I had to first assist and be the scrub tech. Well, the doctor, he made the incision and everything, you know. And then he asked me, he says, "You want to do the honors?" I was like, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, thank you." And he said, and I said, "Walk me through it." And he says, "Absolutely." You know, and of course our patient could hear this too, because she was still awake. You know, she only had the spinal block epidural thing. So I was getting all excited. He was like, "Okay, now stick your two index fingers into the hole that I created and just rip with your fingers upwards." And you're actually ripping the uterus open. And I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And it's a muscle. So it was a little tough at first, you know, but I mean, of course it better be. It's got to hold it has to hold the baby in, you
Yeah.
know. And then he said, "Okay, now just reach in and pull the baby out." And I was like, "Oh." So I went to grab the baby, and those little boogers are slippery. They are slippery.
They are.
I thought I was like, "Oh," and I hadn't done the baby off after the doctor cut the cord because the husband wasn't there.
Right.
So after the doctor cut the cord, while I was holding the baby there, I handed it off to the nursery nurse, and then that was it. But that just made my whole night. I was so excited. I loved it. I
Mm,
loved it.
that's
And then
awesome.
I got to be in all the vaginal births too and handing instruments to the doctor there. And after the baby was born, I'd help the doctor repair. Sometimes some there was this one 18-year-old. Oh my God. That baby tore her up. It took us 2 hours to repair her
Oh,
tears.
mm.
They were vertical tears inside. So it wasn't like a normal tear, you know.
Wow.
But
That's cool.
yeah, it's
Wow.
but it
Yeah,
was interesting.
yeah, I remember I wanted like me, by the way, whoever's watching, me and Mindy love labor and delivery. We love it.
We get our warm and fuzzies there. Warm
Yes.
and fuzzies.
Yes, we
It's
do.
awesome. But it was really cool. I loved it.
Well, I got a call. I wanted to get every single time I was working, I was watching the moms and taking care of them post care, but it just happened where like they would have these really long drawn out births, and I was never there for the actual baby coming out. And one day I came in and finally they were like, "We have a mom in labor. This is her third child. It's probably going to be quick. So, do you want to go
Mm.
in there finally and you want to catch the baby?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." And when I tell you that baby done slipped down and fell right in my arms so fast, like that baby came out within a few pushes, and it is the best feeling. It got me choked up. It's an emotional experience. No matter how many times you see it, for me at
It
least. Like,
it truly is because it's a miracle.
mm-hmm. Yep, but well, Mindy, we have some funny stories to talk about tonight. That's why I was giggling earlier just thinking about it. For every time I think about our funny nights. Um,
Boy, which one are you talking?
One that
And
always stands out to me is Miss Powder Puff.
okay, guys, let me explain the nicknames. At least for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get into the story, they'll understand why.
I think you should let the story tell the nickname.
Okay. But no, we never called this patient this to her
No.
face or around her or anywhere in earshot of her, nor did we ever mention it to family members or anything like that. We always kept it to ourselves outside of work, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We may have said one word here or there just to crack us up in our heads, because once we got going laughing, it was hard to get us to stop. Okay. So please keep that in mind, and don't come at us badly, because it had nothing to do with her as a person or a patient. It was just something that sporadically happened out of the blue. Okay. All right, Hannah.
We weren't calling it's not her name, but the situation's name. So that whenever this happened to us again, we say, or if it ever happened again, we say, "Oh, this." So
Keep in mind also that it's during COVID. So we have masks on and everything else.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right,
So
let's go.
okay. So Mindy, I don't know where to start. Oh, I think so. We had this patient. She was right next to the nurse's station, which you guys know, there's nurses watching this, usually will keep your patients that you need to keep a closer eye on or that are more needy necessarily, need more attention closer to your station. So she was coming out of the station. She was right there to the right. And Mindy, I think it was you. You were like, "Hey, I need your help changing her."
Yeah, because she was a bigger lady. I mean, she was a
Yeah.
good sized lady. Okay.
Yeah. 100 plus, like to give them a visual.
Well, probably 300 plus
Okay.
pounds.
I'm
She
off.
was that big.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's not a one person job turning her and everything. So, anyways, me and Mindy went in there, and sometimes, depending on how everything is, you may need to give them a bath or a quick wash down. Not just wiping them. So, we brought in a lot of baby powder and creams and wipes and such. And
Well. First, you skipped a part, I think.
okay,
Sorry. I had gone in and she had a BM, a very loose BM
never.
that went all the way up her back and all the way up her front. Now, keep in mind, this patient, she was able, okay, she was able to call us to go to the bathroom, but she chose not to on a regular basis. Okay, for whatever reason, she was able. It was almost like she preferred us to clean her up just so she didn't have to get up out of the bed. But,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I'm in there and I start cleaning her up, and then I notice, well, yeah, I'm going to need more wipes, more everything. So I called Hannah in there and I was like, "Hey, can you go and get me some more wipes, and while I'm cleaning her up, and help me get her changed and stuff like that?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, great." She says, "I don't have a problem doing that." And she went and got all the stuff, and by the time she came back, I had her clean. I had everything dug out of the no areas.
What do you thought?
And then and then the powder came,
Well,
and
no,
we were
she had another BM while we were in there. Do you remember that? The more started coming out after you already cleaned her.
Yep,
We
you're
went
right.
through like 2
It's been
days
a
of
while, guys, so have some grace
yeah,
with us. It's been a
yeah.
while.
We haven't really talked about this story in a long time, but yeah. And so Mindy's like, "Okay, I promise, I just cleaned her. Like she was good." So then we're wiping again and making sure in the lay everything is cleaned out. And I had her. Was she turned on my side first? Yes, right. She was turned on my
No,
side.
she was. Yes, and then when you rolled her over to my side, and I was holding her, and you were sprinkling
Okay, you go.
powder.
You tell her. You have a better memory than me. You tell the rest of this.
Okay, so I'll try to tell it without, Okay, so the patient is on her side. She's facing me. So I'm holding her in place while Hannah is wiping that side again to make sure everything's clean and putting powder on and stuff like that and the cream. Well, right after Hannah sprayed the powder on her booty, she farted. and the powder went.
I swear it was like, it just.
It does, like literally like you would see in a cartoon. And I'm over here and I've got my mask on and I'm trying to keep a straight face. I'm trying to keep a straight face and not laugh and not do anything because we're supposed to keep our composure. We're not supposed to laugh at patients or anything, but oh my gosh.
Wait, pause.
And then
Pause. Mindy's face was like this. It's like she is holding her skin as much as she can to be respectful. Like when she tried everything in her power, guys, she was turning red. Mindy was turning red because she was trying, and then she started to cry. You started to cry laughing.
yes, I was trying to keep it together.
Not at the patient, but that I got powder puffed. Okay.
Right. Now the patient during this time did not realize anything was going on. Okay.
Yeah.
It was eye contact mainly between me and Hannah. And then Hannah's on that other side, so the patient cannot see her at all. At all. No. So after she blew the powder away. Hannah put some more powder. And then right about that time again, right before she can pull the powder away good, she farts again and another powder puff, and it lands on Hannah's arm. And Hannah starts, oh my God, guys, Hannah starts like gagging in her mask, kind of like, I can't even do it. I couldn't tell exactly, but you can tell she was having trouble, okay? And I'm over here. I'm losing it by this point because I can't keep it in anymore. I mean, silent laughing, but I mean, you could really tell by looking at my face that we were really laughing at something. And Hannah, don't get me wrong, even though she was grossed out at that moment, it was still there. Okay, and we thought
no, because
it was over.
The fart went in the mask because I'm holding the patient like this. I'm holding the patient's on me. Mindy's over that side, seeing the back side. So when it went up, it went up, like not just on my arm, but it poofed everywhere.
Is that when you came back around and she farted again?
I think that was it. Yeah, and so it was like the smell mixed with that baby smell, which is, I'm so used to just all the poops and all the smells, but
that poor patient
stuck in the air, like it wouldn't go with the baby powder because it was just it was ending loose stools.
And then the patient, she was like, "Oh, I am so sorry. I was so sorry," because let's be honest, we weren't that far. We were not that far.
No, I remember. I'm already trying to hold my composure, not laugh, because when you laugh because you're just that like, what just happened? I remember mask on. I look at Minnie like when it happened again, and she goes, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," and I was like, "It's okay." Well, meanwhile, so loud.
I'm bending over. I'm cracking up. I'm almost on the floor, and I was like, "Hannah," I said, "Do you got this now? I don't think she's done. We just got to get her a new gown, And we did that, and then we left the room, and oh my God, we had to excuse ourselves for a few moments from the nurses' station so that we could go and have that cry laugh, because it was a funny situation. It was an unfortunate situation that none of us really want to be in, but it did happen.
I've changed a lot.
And now we refer to that story as powder puff
Yes.
because it was literally a powder puff multiple
I've changed so many
times.
people. And that never happened, Mindy. That never happened. I've changed so many people. Something about that situation. That was a strong fart.
The bad part is neither one of us seen her bearing down or anything to push it out.
No, but she was capable to get up and go to the bathroom. So, like, even if she had to go while we were in there, we could have got her to the bathroom. But, like, she would just, like, she didn't want to get up to go to the bathroom. And that's what it was. And she wasn't old. She was not old by any means. She was younger.
I would think late 50s, maybe early 60s.
Yeah.
Still able to walk, still able to get up,
I don't know. I feel like she was younger than that, but I could be wrong. My memory's not as sharp as yours. But yeah, she was not, she was able to, yeah, like you said, to do all the things. And, especially the CNAs on here, they may talk about that. There's a lot of patients that are able to go to the bathroom, they just choose not to. Um, so for whatever reason, we were in there quite a bit. And every time I
We
went in
were.
there, I didn't know if it was going to be another powder puff, So, but I scrubbed after that. I scrubbed everything. Watched
I think
all.
we both went home that night or that next morning, and we skipped Waffle House on the way home. We just skipped Waffle House on the way home because both of us, we were like, we need showers.
Me and Mindy used to call each other when we would leave the job. We were so tired. We'd call each other and be on the phone the whole way home to keep each other awake. Or we would stop and get Waffle House or
That,
food or something.
or to make sure that we got home safely.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Especially when it was snowing. Okay, that was a good one.
For sure. For
What
sure.
else did we have? We've had so many funny stories.
Oh, we do. But we may have to save those for a different day. We definitely have some stories. We definitely
I never look at
Oh, go ahead.
I'll never look at baby powder the same.
This is true.
Every time I change it, and I think in my head, am I going to get powder puffed? So that's what we situation.
You wait till you have a baby. You wait till you have a baby.
It changed my nursing degree. I mean, not my nursing degree. It changed my nursing experience. Now, that's stuck with me forever.
Oh my goodness, guys. It can be very fun, especially if you have a nurse that you click with. Okay? Not all nurses are going to like you, and not all CNAs are going to like you. There is never a possibility of making everybody happy 100% of the time. You just can't do it. Too many personalities, too many likes, too many dislikes. And I'm just going to put this out there. I don't know how true it may be, but I think, that there's jealousy out there too.
Yeah. We had a lot of people jealous over us. Like, they were mad.
Yeah.
We had the relationship we had, and unfortunately, they tried to separate us.
They tried to sabotage us. They tried to get us fired.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do anything to get fired over. And we were very careful, especially with our medications and stuff like that. We were careful. We tried to follow the rules. Like I said, there's a time and a place for everything. And we put patients first.
Well, there'd be hours we didn't see each other. We'd be on the same unit, but we would divide and conquer. And we would grab each other if we need each other. But then later when we had to chart, the nurse's station and stuff or call doctors, we would, be able to catch up. And
you remember this? Can I get some help in room 301?
No, I don't remember that.
Our Apple Watches How will
Oh,
you call for help?
oh my gosh, guys, we had the walkie-talkie feature on the Apple Watch. Um, and you're the only one I think I could do it with. Yeah, but
Really?
you could hit it and say, Mindy, you there?
It
You probably should have
came
those-
in handy. It really did.
Especially
It,
when you had all the stuff on.
oh, for sure. Or there was really a big code brown,
Mm-hmm.
that you needed help with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many different funny stories. Funny stories.
Yep. There's a lot, and you guys are gonna have so much fun in nursing. It's stressful, it's tiring, but it's so fun.
Look,
And to this day, we laugh all the time.
80%. About about 80% of our job is not fun. It's not. Let's just be honest, it's not. But the other 20%, that's what makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
That is what touches us the most. That other 20%. Without that 20% and humor at times, I could definitely see somebody going crazy, a nurse going crazy.
Yeah. Or burn out and switch their career field because of it. Me personally, I was burnout, and that's why I went to remote nursing. That's where I think the travel nursing caught up with me, especially after COVID, Mindy. Oh my gosh, everywhere was short staffed. Every patient, they were in really bad condition. Well, most of them, it was not good.
We picked up shifts all the time. There's times when we were working 6 and 7 days because who
Mm-hmm.
is affected the most? The
Yeah.
patients. The patients are the affected. And it's not their fault that staff calls out or does a
Yeah.
half-assed job. It's not their fault.
And families weren't allowed. So, sometimes how families would visit or the families would come to help out. At the time, I think visitors were not allowed.
No, because that one guy that we had the one that never kept his clothes on, his wife had to come to the window.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we would try to get him dressed for her to come and visit him, that didn't last long.
Yep.
By the time you walked out the door and went to go and possibly get a towel or something that he needed, by the time you got back, he was naked again.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd come out in the hallway if he was mobile.
Yeah. Oh,
He
I have a
didn't
quick
care.
You just reminded me of this one patient story this is when we were working together. He kept going on the floor. So, when they put a protocol in place to put a mattress or pads on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
if they just keep falling on the floor or whatever. So he kept doing that, and he was able to use his walker, get around everything, and no one could understand why does he keep throwing himself on the floor from his bed. Well, I did some research and I just looked at the family, I looked in the history, and I saw his religion was Muslim, I believe, and he was trying to go on the floor to pray. And once I put two and two together,
Oh, you
yep,
helped him? You would help him?
I called the doctor and I told him what was going on.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, you figured it out. And I mean, he needed a one-on-one. We didn't have the staff for a one-on-one at the time, but we had to because we didn't want him to get hurt. And I felt so good of figuring that out because he wouldn't verbalize. He had trouble speaking. I don't know if you remember him or not, but
I do not. I do
yeah.
not. But then it could have been that time when I was going to New York
Mm.
for my
I
IVF.
It could have been, but they kept he had to keep getting transferred. Like he was on different units because depending on where staffing was able to be on a
Yeah.
one-on-one, and he came to the floor. And I remember, guys, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so like, how are we gonna do this? And so I was like, I think it went on for like a week, and I finally was like, I can't, like this poor patient, I have to figure out a way. So I found that out, called the family. They were like, even the family was like, you nailed it. Like that's why this has been happening. So I sat down with him and talked to him. We made a prayer space for him and it stopped. He stopped throwing himself on the floor. He was so frustrated he was not able to verbalize. I don't know if he had a stroke or I can't remember why he was in there, but he had trouble with his speech and he wasn't able to verbalize what was going on or what he was trying to tell us. So that was his way of telling us.
Well, I know in like Islam and they pray like 5 times a day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember when I was in Afghanistan and Iraq, we had to set aside time for our workers
Mm-hmm.
to be able to pray and honor, their traditions throughout the workday. And they pray like 5 times a day. And it's a whole ritual because they take off their shoes, they clean their hands. They have a whole ritual that they do 5 times a day, and it starts bright and early in the mornings.
We got the time. So then the CNAs would take him. We got a routine down, washing his hands and getting him whatever he needed. But that's another thing. Sometimes you just got to take a little extra time with certain patients and figure them out.
Absolutely.
And it solves a bunch of other problems.
Agreed.
Don't just push it to the side. Figure it out. That's where that critical problem solving and thinking, comes into play.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hannah, for sharing your patient story with such honesty and grace tonight. Your voice is exactly why we're here, to learn, to connect, and to keep moving forward with compassion. Okay. If you're joining our Thursday history piece, we'll compare 1953's guidance to today's evidence-based practice. It's an eye-opening contrast that grounds these stories in progress, okay? And sometimes it's infuriating, actually. I want to remind you that Real Talk with Nurse Mindy is a battle-tested nursing production, and your voice does matter here. Okay? Next week, Nurse Jan will be joining us on the 31st. Don't miss it, next Tuesday. And then this Thursday, we'll have that historical piece. But my topic, I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet. I have 2 in mind. And my title is still to be determined for now. So I'll share details as soon as they're set, okay? And thank you all for taking the time to join us tonight. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Okay. And if you're a CNA, a PCT, or in a medtech role, remember, April is for you. Send me a PM to come on the show and tell your story. Let's lift each other up and make space for every essential voice in patient care. All right. Have a great night, everybody. See you later.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, Hannah. Always a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
All right.